Hello, fellow nomads.
Hello.
We are Scot Ariane. If you don't know what our channel is all about, it's all about living a nomadic lifestyle in our 76 vintage Airstream that took us 3 years to renovate. So we want to come to you because this is really our first week that we've done full-time in the Airstream. Probably since our idea started almost 4 years ago. And thought we'd give you kind of like a rundown on what the first week is like when you leave everything and you live in a 180 square foot area with 2 dogs that think it's all theirs. And
they really do.
They really do. And you know, what's it like? So I would say this. So Ariane and I we're pretty nomadic people anyway. You know, we both have lived out of our backpack on the Appalachian Trail for months and managed to make it in the rain, the snow, the sleet, the wind, and you know, getting picked up by strangers to go into town. Specifically in this town, Gatlinburg, where we are filming this in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And so we're kind of used to that. We spent, what do you think, like, I don't know, probably 3 years trekking around on the Ford Expedition.
Yeah, we became very, very accustomed to the lifestyle, and we are very accustomed to being uncomfortable in any type of condition. But this is entirely different. Yeah,
and you know, we bought the van, and we kind of like, you know, lived in the van off and on part-time for a year, and we did some pretty cross-country epic road trips in the van, because that's kind of like our backpacking van. It's also our tow vehicle. But I will say this, leaving everything and not having the safety and security of a parking lot or a driveway or someplace that you know everything is going to be safe, it's a little bit, it's a little different. Our first week, did things go the way they planned? No. No.
Not even close.
Not even close. And I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. And sometimes it was a good thing, and sometimes it was like, well, we didn't see this coming. This was like, this is really aggravating.
Well,
and we better nip it in the bud now. That's the Google Map thing.
The first 2 days of full timing felt a little bit more like a checklist of errors and malfunctions and anything that could go wrong that we had not anticipated going wrong. Felt like it did. And now, in reality, not everything went wrong, but it was about 6 main components that malfunctioned.
Yeah.
That were not only our first source, but our backup, and then our backup to the backup. And so we were out of backups. We were entirely out of the redundancy of what you do to get power, to get electricity, any of it. And so it was very eye-opening for us within the first 2 days alone to kind of navigate through all that. And part of us said, it's no big deal. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And the other part of us, after it kept happening, kind of felt a little defeated. But
yeah,
we knew, and we've heard time and time again from everybody who's already doing it, that these things are more normal than abnormal for things to go wrong. But when you are so far removed from that reality, it doesn't absorb into your mindset.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's like, you know what the reality is going to be. And so you're like, yeah, well, I can figure it out. And yeah, this will be okay. But when reality gets very close to you, you're like, wow, I didn't think the reality was going to happen so quickly. It could have been nice if it waited a month. But basically, our battery charge controller, we have a 4-stage battery charger, that kaput. Don't know why. It just stopped working. It was working for a while. It seemed like it was fine, and then now it's just done. We think that our batteries, we probably bought them too early, And so now we may have to rebuy batteries again, which is very aggravating, but we're not sure of that yet. Things are working, and then all of a sudden the inverter on one of the outlets, that stopped working. And so it's like we had tested the Airstream for such a long time, and we used all this stuff on the farm all the time, and everything was flawless. So
even our 2 major test runs prior to going out,
flawless.
Well, outside of the air conditioning,
right.
Which we corrected.
Right.
But so for us to experience this like right off the bat, like immediately, was slightly discouraging, but it's comforting to know, because in these past 6.5 days, we've heard from everybody, oh yeah,
that goes wrong. That goes wrong. That goes wrong.
You'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
And that actually is very comforting to us, to know that we're not the only ones experiencing it or have experienced it, and everybody gets through it, and we'll get through it too.
Yeah, and the big decision that, because we knew we wanted a boondock, we knew right away that we wanted to come to places like this. Now, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I always kind of like cringe a little bit when I hear people say, well, we always look for real sunny spots, and we always look for this so our solar can work, which is fantastic. That's great. That's what solar's for, right? But then you miss places like this, and Elkmont is like our favorite campground to go to in the Smokies. We have a lot of good memories here. Yeah. And so well, why would you miss it? So that's why we did get the generator. The generator has really been just an asset. And we're not the only ones running it here in Elkmont. Some are louder than others. We're pretty pleased with ours. But I think that for the most part, we're already starting to get into a rhythm now. And I think the rhythms, I know that's going to come, whatever you do in life, change is always about getting into like a new rhythm about that change. And so what was kind of funny today is that we left and we went to go do laundry, and we go to this laundromat. It was a very clean laundromat. They have great Wi-Fi. Fantastic Wi-Fi. And all of a sudden we went, we went into over-sensory mode, trying to get everything done we needed to get done. We even pulled into the Sugarlands Visitors parking lot where I gotta email this person. And the thing is that we're not only just full-time in just the RV, just traveling around, putzing around, but we have jobs. So our job is to take people out on these backpacking trips and backcountry adventures. And so Ariane led 2 of our guests from our Trusted Trail podcast. And so she worked for 3 days in the rain, by the way.
It was awesome.
Yeah, they had a blast fun. I had to stay behind and watch the dogs because the dogs can't go on the trail. And that's one thing too. So normally Ariane and I would always both go on the trips. Now it's like one of us is going to have to stay behind. And does that suck? Yeah, that does suck, but that's one of the prices that we're gonna pay to be able to live this lifestyle. And so, we go to the laundromat, and it's like, it was just over sensory. We had to email all these people, and we had things commitments, and we have another trip we're going on, and
just like a week's time, like a week and a day, and we had to connect with those people, and so it felt a little
like internet was going away in 10 minutes. Like there was a countdown, like fast as we could.
I think to kind of put it into a nutshell, what the first week feels like for us full timing has been, we're kind of always behind the learning curve, and we're kind of catching up to it, and we're figuring things out as we're going. And that's not a negative thing. That's just part of a new life that you embark upon. So when you completely adjust your lifestyle or completely adjust something that you've been doing, this muscle memory or this regular rhythm for so long, and then you completely jump ship and alter to a new life, you do have this steep learning curve that you're always trying to learn. And for me, it feels mentally exhausted this week because I feel like we're absorbing so many new things all the time, and it's just like this overload of okay, we need to learn this, or okay, this would have been better. And it's just like this constant like data. It's just like swirling around in our minds.
And we did this for a year before we went out full time. So
it's very interesting, but on the flip end of it, we've experienced just a lot of solitude and a lot of beautiful things. The first 3 nights that we were here, we had owls just surrounding our camper, talking all night, and it was just, I mean, this is kind of what we're here for.
And we looked out our window this morning and we had, you know, wild turkeys, you know, walk right across the Airstream, and, you know, I mean,
the scenery is beautiful and the air is crisp, and it's kind of it's what we're seeking, and it feels really good, and there's so many pluses, and it's really enjoyable to live in our space.
I would say our first week is like this. It's like walking on cotton, and it's just all cushy and it feels good. But there's little shards in there. There's just little shards in there, and every once in a while you're like, oh God, that hurt. That was oh man, I didn't see that one coming.
That's a good analogy.
And it's like, then you learn to, maybe you shouldn't walk so fast. Maybe you should just pre-walk and look at the, I mean, it's like, and
get out and scout the area.
And so we're to the point now where, you know, like, I think it's gonna definitely help our relationship, because, you know, when you're living in a house, you're living in an apartment, or you're living, you know, in the sticks and bricks and stuff, you know, if you have an argument, you know, you can just like walk away or say good night, I'm done, and then that's it, right? But when you're traveling, she still has to help me back up tomorrow. And so you don't really,
we have to get along.
We have to get along. I mean, so I think that, you know, you have a little bit more patience now. I feel like we're a little bit more patient with each other.
I think that we're recognizing that we need to learn to be more patient with each other. We haven't quite gotten to the entire patient part, but
no, that's another journey and another video.
But I will say that it is forcing us to communicate more directly in that moment. Of like, I need this from you. Like, I need this from you, and then you can tell me what you need from me, and it's more reactive to the moment. And then we have, within like the first 6 days, decided, you know, we really just need to like be more forgiving and more patient with each other, because it's constant. We have to work together to make this life work. And not that we weren't before, it just feels more immediate.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the funny thing about any change that you do, I really do feel like I feel like I've gone all the way back to 2003 all over again. When I was prepping to through hike the Appalachian Trail, I remember how like upset I was about if gear didn't work, or if something didn't work, or, you know, being, well, what if I'm going to get there? What if this person's late? Or how am I going to get picked up? And then it's like, now I kind of feel like that all those old feelings are coming back again. But, you know, in reality, it's like everything's going to be okay. You know, I mean, you know, it poured. I mean, I thought I was going to have to convert the Airstream into an Arc this weekend, and it rained, but, you know, nothing leaked. Everything was fine. Everything, you know, we had to dry out our stuff for 2 days, but, you know, in all, it's like everything was fine. And then, you know, tomorrow we're gonna go someplace else, and we'll have that fight tomorrow, and then, you know, you live that fight tomorrow, and then you'll have the fight the next day, as far as what goes wrong, or what you need to do, or, you know, what adjustments do you have to make. And in the end, everything's gonna be okay, and one day it'll be just like really a breeze. You know, I won't worry. I'll fix it tomorrow. You know, fix it next week.
Sure, I'm hoping to get to that point.
Yeah, and I think really a lot of the other RV community people that we've met here, like Ariane said, it's really been helpful for them to say, oh yeah, man, it goes wrong all the time. I'm constantly fixing that thing. Yeah. And that's a newer trailer. You know, ours is, you know, going on 45 years old, completely rebuilt. And, you know, there's the factor that I did it myself. That always sits back in the back of my mind, like, what did I do wrong on that one? But I think it's all going to be okay, and that's just part of the gig. So, Yeah, it's gone well. The first week has gone well.
I would say in a nutshell, it has been successful despite all of the malfunctions.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's been perfect.
Okay.
1 being I'm leaving you here. I'm driving home tomorrow. What would you say?
Well, you're catching me in a good moment.
Okay. Oops.
We're not backing up the trailer.
Oh, that's true.
Depends on when you ask that question. No, I think that, I think it's about an 8. I think we expected to disagree on backing up. We expected to need a little bit more space from each other than normal. And we're still trying to figure out the rhythm of how a day goes, but every day has been so different that we haven't really adjusted to it yet. But it feels good and it feels exciting, and I think that it feels. I know what it is.
I was gonna say a 9.5 for my number, by the way. I was gonna be a solid 9.5, but I'm an 8 too.
I think.
I thought I wanted it to be a 9.5. I was hoping for a 9.5.
This is why it's been so good. It's because we are learning something new, and we're in a state of eagerness to learn the new life, to figure it out, to problem solve, and it feels good to be at a state where you're not stagnant anymore, where you're learning and you're absorbing and you're picking up new skills, and to me that's encouraging for it to continue.
Yeah, moving forward and growing and always learning. That's the whole key to life, I think, sometimes. But so anyway, we want to give you an update on our first week. We really appreciate the support that you guys give us. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube video. We have a lot more content to come. And the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm sure. Anyway, we'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye. Good.
What's that?